The night was cold and restless. A thunderstorm raged outside the towering glass mansion perched on the hill, lightning slicing the sky open like jagged scars. Inside, CEO Ethan Blackwell, one of the most powerful men in the city, sat alone in his study. The fireplace burned low, casting an orange glow over the room lined with dark wood and gold-trimmed bookshelves. His desk was covered in files, contracts, mergers, numbers, the kind of paper that made and destroyed empires. He had built his life around control, precision, and silence. Nothing entered his world without his permission. That's why, when the first knock came, soft and hesitant, he didn't react. He thought it was the staff, perhaps bringing his late coffee. But then, the second knock echoed, louder this time, uneven and urgent, followed by a faint sob that the thunder almost swallowed. Ethan's pen froze mid-signature. He frowned, glancing toward the massive double doors. The security system should have blocked anyone from reaching his front entrance. He rose from his chair slowly, his polished shoes silent against the marble floor. The storm outside howled through the tall windows as he approached the door. Then came a voice, so small, so fragile, that it didn't sound real. "Please, help me. They hurt my mom. She's dying." The words sliced through him like ice. Ethan's hand gripped the doorknob, heart thudding. He opened the door, and the sight before him made his breath catch. A little girl stood in the rain, no older than 7. Her hair clung to her face, soaked through, her clothes torn and muddy. In her trembling hand, she held a small piece of red ribbon, darkened by blood. Her lips were pale, her eyes wide with terror and exhaustion. For a moment, Ethan just stared, unable to speak. The storm roared behind her, but she didn't flinch. She looked up at him with pleading eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 unspoken fears. "Please," she whispered again, voice breaking. "You're the only one who can help." Ethan's pulse quickened. Something about the child, the shape of her face, the sorrow in her gaze, struck him with an eerie sense of familiarity. He stepped aside without another thought. "Come in," he said quietly, his usual cold tone melting into concern. And as she crossed the threshold, drenched and trembling, Ethan Blackwell's perfectly ordered world began to crack. The girl stood shivering near the fireplace, her wet clothes dripping onto the marble floor. Ethan grabbed a towel from the nearby cabinet and wrapped it around her small shoulders. She looked so fragile, as if one more gust of wind could make her disappear. "What's your name?" he asked softly, crouching to her height. My name is Lily," she stammered, clutching the towel tighter. Her voice was so faint it almost blended with the crackle of the fire. "Lily," Ethan repeated, the name rolling off his tongue like a memory he couldn't quite place. "Tell me what happened." Tears welled in her eyes. "They hurt my mom. She's bleeding. She told me to run, to find you." Ethan's brows furrowed. "Find me? How does your mother know who I am?" Lily shook her head, her small hands trembling. "I don't know," she said. "She said you'd help. That you're a good man." Ethan's throat tightened. A good man. It had been a long time since anyone had called him that. He had built his empire through power, strategy, and fear. Goodness had no place in his world anymore. He tried to steady his voice. "Where is she now?" Lily sniffled. "In an alley, behind the red cafe. I didn't want to leave her, but she told me to go before they came back." Ethan's pulse began to pound. He knew that part of the city, dark, lawless, a place people like him paid others to handle, not visit themselves. But there was no mistaking the desperation in Lily's trembling voice. "Who hurt her?" he asked, his tone sharper now. Lily hesitated. "Men, in black coats. They said something about making her pay." Her words broke into sobs. "Please, mister, she can't die. You have to help her." Without another thought, Ethan stood, grabbing his coat from the back of his chair. "You're coming with me." Lily's eyes widened. "But it's dangerous." "I don't care," he interrupted, his voice low but steady. "If your mother asked for me, I owe her that much." He lifted the girl into his arms, shielding her from the cold as they stepped back into the storm. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the guilt and confusion tightening his chest. He didn't know who Lily's mother was, but something deep inside told him that this night was about to unravel secrets buried long ago. The car skidded to a stop near the dimly lit street, tires splashing through puddles. The storm had quieted, leaving only the soft hum of rain and the occasional crackle of thunder far away. Ethan stepped out, holding Lily close as he scanned the alley behind the red cafe. The air was thick with the smell of garbage, wet asphalt, and something metallic, blood. Lily pointed with a trembling hand. There, behind the boxes. Ethan's heart pounded as he moved closer, his expensive shoes sinking into the muddy ground. The flickering streetlight above buzzed weakly, casting an eerie glow over the narrow passage. And then he saw her, a woman lying motionless against the brick wall, her body half covered by a torn coat. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. Her hair, even soaked in rain, glinted the same chestnut shade he remembered. Her face was pale, smeared with blood and dirt, but her features, familiar. Achingly familiar. He knelt beside her, brushing wet strands from her face, and the realization hit him like a blow. "Emma," he whispered, disbelief and regret twisting in his chest. Lily clutched his sleeve. "You know her." Ethan couldn't answer. His throat felt tight, words strangled by memories. Years ago, Emma had been his everything, the woman who saw through his ambition, who loved the man behind the power. But when his greed and betrayal shattered their bond, she had vanished without a trace. Now she lay before him, broken and fading. Ethan pressed 2 fingers to her neck, a faint pulse. Relief surged through him. "She's alive," he muttered, quickly taking off his coat and wrapping it around her. "Emma, it's me, Ethan. Stay with me." Her eyelids fluttered weakly, and she groaned. "Lily, she's here," Ethan said quickly. "She's safe. I've got you both now." Emma's lips trembled. They found us." Her voice cracked, barely audible. Ethan looked around the alley, his instincts on high alert. There were tire marks nearby, footprints, and the faint smell of gunpowder. Whoever had done this hadn't gone far. His jaw tightened, anger rising like fire. He scooped Emma into his arms, his coat dripping with rain and blood. "We're getting out of here," he said firmly. As he carried her toward the car, Lily trotted beside him, clutching his sleeve. In that moment, Ethan knew nothing about money or power mattered anymore, only the 2 fragile lives he was now bound to protect. Ethan burst through the mansion doors, rainwater streaming from his coat as he carried Emma in his arms. The staff rushed forward, alarmed, but one sharp look from him sent them scattering. "Call drive, Harris," he ordered. "Now." His voice thundered through the halls. He laid Emma gently on the velvet couch in the lounge, her skin ghostly pale beneath the golden light. Lily hovered close, clutching the blood-stained ribbon to her chest. The fire crackled faintly, filling the silence with its uneven rhythm. "Mom, please wake up," Lily whispered, brushing a tear from her mother's cheek. Ethan knelt beside them, his heart hammering. He had faced hostile boardrooms, scandals, and rivals who wanted to ruin him, but nothing had ever terrified him like this fragile, dying woman. "Emma, stay with me," he murmured, gripping her hand. "You can't leave her. Not again." Her eyelids fluttered open, eyes glistening with pain. "Ethan." Her voice was barely a breath. "You came." "Of course I came," he said, his tone breaking. "Why didn't you tell me? Why disappear all those years ago?" She gave a faint, broken smile. "Because you were changing. You stopped caring about people, about us." He swallowed hard, guilt twisting inside him. "I never stopped caring." Her hand trembled as she reached for Lily's. "They found out. About her. About you. I tried to keep her safe, but they wanted revenge." "Who?" Ethan demanded. His voice turned sharp again, full of the old steel. "Who did this to you?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. "The same men you crushed to rise higher. The ones who lost everything because of you. They said if I didn't give them proof of your corruption, they'd take Lily." She coughed weakly, blood staining her lips. "So I ran. I hid. But they found us." Ethan's chest tightened. His empire, built on ruthless ambition, had destroyed everything he loved. Emma's hand fell limply against his. "Promise me. Protect her. Don't let her become like us." "Emma, don't," but her eyes were already losing focus. "Mommy." Lily's soft sobs broke the silence as Emma's last breath slipped away. Ethan held her close, rainwater and tears blending on his face. The man who once ruled the city now knelt powerless beside the woman he'd destroyed. Lily looked up at him, her voice trembling. "Will you save me now, Daddy?" Ethan met her gaze, those same amber eyes as Emma's, and whispered hoarsely, "I swear, no one will ever hurt you again."